Hello, dear audience. Sorry for the delay. It was connected to some technical issues. Warm welcome to the wide audience who follow us on social media platform right now. And warm welcome to the audience who have beforehand registered and now are with us on today's panel discussion. Today is 2nd of October. And I'm glad to give a start to EENCE Club number 9. The project EENCE Club aims at promotion of democratic development and citizenship education through creation of a space for public debates and experience sharing. All the EENCE Club topics are focused on sustainable development goals of UN SDGs. Today, with a great panelists and moderator, we will speak up about SDG number 17 that refers to the need for cross-sector and cross-country collaboration for the sustainable and for the realization of the goals of SDGs for 2030. Today's event is entitled Citizenship Education for SDG number 17, Social Entrepreneurship and Partnership with Traditional Enterprises. From theory to practice, spotlights from Denmark, Georgia, and Azerbaijan. Today's panel discussion, which will focus particularly on the role of social entrepreneurship for the society and the importance of its partnership with traditional enterprises. The topic will be discussed to encourage and promote effective private and civil society partnership as well. In other words, today we will put into the center and we will debate, we will discuss on what social entrepreneurship is in general, how and why it can be integrated in civic education, and what practical cases exist of good cooperation between social entrepreneurship and traditional enterprises. EENCE Club project is organized by EENCE in the framework of Citizenship Education Week with an interesting title, Art of Living Online. And it is supported by Federal Agency for Civic Education using the funds that are coming from Federal Foreign Office of Germany. So the Citizenship Education Week will take place from 11 till 17 of October, and it will include more than 100 activities and events, both offline and online. I encourage you to hurry up to register to this event and reserve your space in the variety of the activities and events that should be upon your interest. Citizenship Education Week will be online, will be free of charge, and all the details, including the registration, you can find at the official web page of EENCE, which is eence.eu. Some technical announcement for you, dear colleagues and dear audience. The panel discussion will last exactly 1 hour. Then we will have a space, 30 minutes for Q&A session. So if you have any question right now or during the process, so feel free to address your question in a chat box or write a comment in a social media platform. If your question is related to a specific panelist, mention it in your question. Also be free to introduce your name, like country you are coming from, the organization you present, etc. Shortly about the organizer of today's panel discussion, it is EENCE, Eastern European Network for Citizenship Education, which history traces back to 2015. The mission of the network is to have a tangible contribution in the sustainable realization and development of the civil society in the Eastern Partnership region and Russia through widening the citizenship education sphere and developing the capacity of the institutions and experts in the field. If you are interested in this network, I recommend you to check all the details at eence.eu again, because a network is always open for new organizations as well as individual experts to join and have their impact in the realization of citizenship education development sphere. The panel discussion, including the Q&A session, will be moderated by Salome Usiani. Salome is an executive director at Social Enterprise Alliance. Salome carries a master's degree in organizational development and consulting. Salome has 5 years of working experience in the civil, public, and private sectors as an HR specialist, as well as organizational development consultant. Salome believes that social entrepreneurship is an effective way to achieve social change. My name is Narine Teknejan. I am the co-founder of Youth is Power NGO, member of EENCE Coordination Council, project manager of EENCE Club, as well as leader and initiator of 2 EENCE working groups, Youth and Citizenship Education and Women in Local Communities. I truly believe that today we will have quite an interesting, quite a challenging, as well as productive panel discussion. From now on, I leave a floor to Salome Kusiani, the moderator, and wish us a good luck and interesting panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Narine. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining the webinar. I'm Salome Gusiani from Social Enterprise Alliance of Georgia, and I'm honored to be the moderator of the panel discussion, Citizenship Education for SDG #17, Social Entrepreneurship and Partnerships with Traditional Enterprises. Thanks to EENCE Club to give us an opportunity to speak about the role of social entrepreneurship for the society and the importance of its partnerships with traditional enterprises. As Narine has already mentioned, today we're having the experts from Denmark, Georgia, and Azerbaijan. So first of all, let me introduce the speakers. Mr. Per Bach from Denmark. He has been chairman of social entrepreneurs in Denmark since 2010. Per has been working with both social, environmental, and economic sustainability for more than 20 years. He carries a master in social entrepreneurship. Mr. Georgi Jaduria from Georgia. He is a civic education teacher and project manager of the social innovation platform. Since 2019, Georgi has been teaching civic education both at public and private schools. Since 2020, he is also a project manager of the social innovation platform. And Ms. Gulnara Ismailova from Azerbaijan. She is a co-founder of Education Hub in Azerbaijan and has a rich international experience in social programs development. Gulnara mainly focuses on empowerment and development of young women from rural parts of Azerbaijan. And she currently is a chair of EENCE Social Entrepreneurship and Innovation Working Group. Dear speakers, thanks once again for joining the webinar and bringing your expertise to the EENCE Club. Before we start our panel discussion, I would like to start our meeting with a small icebreaker, and I address to the speakers and Narine to share with us what was the last social buy you made and who you empowered by your responsible procurement. Dear Per, do you want to share with us?
Yes. So yesterday I met a couple of really nice young social entrepreneurs here in Aarhus where I live, who had the idea to make dried fruit out of fruit that would otherwise be thrown into being garbage. So they have a really interesting product called fruit leather, which is kind of a chewing gum made from surplus food. So they make sure that we don't have food waste, and they make a really nice product. Mary Berries is the name of the little business that will maybe be big in the future.
Thank you, Dieper. I hope you enjoyed your social buy. Georgi, do you want to tell us?
Sure. I mean, I've had tough time finding one actually, but I mean, this is a small jewelry, and the story behind this is that, I mean, the person who makes this, I mean, she's not a social entrepreneur per se now, but I mean, all the skills and everything that she has and the talent that she has, I believe that she is the future social entrepreneur. So but currently, I mean, she tries to, you know, like sell this and to use it for social causes. But again, I mean, for me, I believe that in the new, and she's 12. I mean, she's 12. That's the story behind it. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, dear Gulnara.
Hi, Salome. I would like to share with you one piece. I have a bag. I don't know, can you see that? So I have this bag from our alumni. They are living in Guba regions, women-led social business. They are producing and preparing eco bags. And I always promote these eco bags using instead of plastic bags. So I try to encourage other people that to have these eco bags just to support sustainable development and also support local business in the regions.
Okay, thank you. Dear Narina, do you also want to share with us, or maybe before you turn on the camera, I also show you my last social buy and actually really favorite thing. So I hope you see it. It's the puzzle of Georgia. It's made by Dadari, social enterprise Dadari. It's wooden, and by our like my social responsible procurement, I try to empower the people from vulnerable groups. So it's really cute one, especially with woods. And Narina, will you also share with us?
Yeah, I will share with a great pleasure. So this nice stuff I have bought a few days ago. It's my last social buy, and it was created by people, by disabled people. So this is a nice organization that is working in Yerevan, the capital city, but in the regions, they have also their offices, and they engage disabled people in their communities. Thank you.
Thank you, dear speakers, for your sharing and kind of nice icebreaker. And if anyone from the audience also wants to involve in this social responsible procurement, you can always do it. At least like on the example of Georgia, you can visit the website of Social Enterprise Alliance, find Georgian social enterprises, and make your socially responsible procurement. As you already know, today we mainly focus on the role of social entrepreneurship for the society and the importance of sustainable partnerships with traditional enterprises. Nowadays, we live in the world full of challenges, and on our daily basis, we need to solve them. The world needs effective tools to solve the problems in innovative ways. Social entrepreneurship is considered as one of the effective tools. In different countries, it is still a new concept, but it is being developed and considered as a tool to have positive social impact on the society and environment generally. Additionally, social entrepreneurship and its partnerships with public or private sector could have vital meaning for the fulfillment SDGs by 2030. So what social entrepreneurship is? how and why it can be integrated in civic education, and what practical cases exist of good cooperation between SEs and traditional enterprises will be discussed during the meeting. So, dear speakers, especially dear Gulnara and George, generally, what social entrepreneurship is and why it can be perceived as an effective tool for achieving the SDGs.
I can answer.
Yeah, please.
Okay. In my opinion, social entrepreneurship, first it is like all about recognizing the social problems and achieving a social change by employing entrepreneurial principles, process, and operations. So it is all about like defining a particular social problem and trying to organize, create, and managing social venture to attain the desired change. The change will contribute solving the social problems. And this is lifetime process. So where we're focusing improvement of existing circumstances. So that's why we think that this is effective tools for achieving sustainable development goals. And also social entrepreneurship, they play significant roles for poverty reduction, ensuring employment, environmental issues. So on the other hand, the creativity of social entrepreneurship help to understand the process of assessing and sharing ideas that provide a solution.
Thank you, Gulnara. George, do you want to add some parts?
Sure. First of all, thank you for organizing the event and inviting me. I would not consider myself as an expert per se in the field, but thank you for giving me the status. I would consider myself as an interested person who works in the field that is very much interested. We can say that both, like social entrepreneurship, social innovation, and social enterprises, they are both. All of them represent a new and a very important and growing part of civil society. I would talk from the civil society sector standpoint, And today, these terms, they have gained so much popularity that, they are used almost, everywhere. They're used by public officials, they're used by businesses, CSOs. Now we have an elections day in Georgia, and they're used by politicians as well, when they're giving their speeches and so on and so forth. But it has to be said that as in many other cases, there's no, and I was trying to look at it, and there's no exact definition, there's no exact universal definition of the term. And we've had a great workshop recently, and I think Salome was participating in the workshop as well. And like the workshop participants, they were giving different definitions of the term, and I could already tell where the person was coming from. So whether he or she was from the business sector, whether they were coming from CSOs and so on and so forth, and that's very important to say that, like, for instance, for me, social innovation is a campaign by Charter or Give Internet, which is a new platform, not new, which is a platform in Georgia that connects sponsors and socially vulnerable people to give access to internet, And for me, in the Georgian context, this platform is a social innovation. But in other contexts, in other circumstances, this might be just a regular thing. The term became so, so big and so inclusive and so popular that it could, it can now cover basically every socially beneficial activities. And when we look at the social enterprises, it is really obvious, you know, and there are different, you know, like drivers and reasons behind it, you know, like, and for me, one of the major reason why the term, why social entrepreneurship became so popular, or social innovations became so popular, is that, you know, like current ways of consumption and production are not working, and we have a lot of, you know, environmental challenges, and and this is where SDGs come in as well. You know, I'm not sure regarding the timing. Do you have...
you have time.
Okay,
still some minutes.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, if we go back to the definition, we can say that, like, these terms, you know, social innovation, social entrepreneurship, social enterprises, they're used, you know, together, you know, and there's a great debate between the similarities and also the differences between these terms. And obviously, as I've said, there's a lot of interconnectivity, and the shared objective about these terms is that they all try to find innovative solutions for social problems. And in essence, the definitions of all these terms is about change agents with the mission of addressing social unjust, right? For me, I can say that social enterprise and the organization that I work with, we define that social enterprise is about the business model, you know, that you might have. Social entrepreneurship is about the mindset driven by the social entrepreneur. And yeah, and it is important again to say that they work in tandem. You know, you cannot have like one without the other. But again, it has to, we have to say that social entrepreneurship has to have three major things. It has to be social. That's why it has the word social, right? It has to be social. It has to be innovative. And in a way, it has to be market driven. You know, it's not like, you know, like it's like you are doing the charity work, right? And while there are people and scholars, and especially from the private sector, who say that in essence all business is social and that there is no such thing as a non-social enterprise, for me, the strategic focus of social entrepreneurship and social innovations is associated with either social or environmental outcomes. You know, it's about the outcomes that will that overrides profit maximization. So first is social, and then comes profit maximization, you know. So for me, social entrepreneurship is defined by its social or environmental impact that it has. So that, secondly, also, yeah, we can talk about, you know, that there should be some sort of innovation, obviously, creativity, out of the box thinking, and also sustainability. This is where the SDGs come in, you know. It has to be sustainable. Again, like, there are different terms. I've looked at it, and like people from UCL define it a bit differently than people from, for instance, Stanford University. And we can say that all of them are right. But again, the major part is that the first thing is social, and then comes the profit maximization aspect. But we could also, yeah, continue our discussion regarding SDGs and how social entrepreneurship.
Thanks, Georgi. And like what was mentioned in this speech is that generally this concept is so wide. Sometimes it makes confusion in the society, and especially in the people who are not coming from civil society, and, for example, who are coming from like business or maybe also public sector. And as on the example of Georgia, as we don't have any clear definition here in Georgia on national level, on law level, sometimes it's also confused other people what we really mean under the definition of social entrepreneurship. But you mentioned this, like maybe it's not even you mentioned three main dimensions of this concept, and for sure, first of all, and on the first place, it's that it's social, and then it comes market-driven definition, and also the innovative ways and governance at the social enterprise. Dear Gulnara, do you want to also add some stuff about what you think, why social entrepreneurship is an effective tool for achieving SDGs on your experience and on the experience of Azerbaijan?
Yes, in Azerbaijan, we had also working on this area, but as I already mentioned in several meetings that we also don't have local legislation on social entrepreneurship. So, and this is one challenge for us, that we don't have the concrete definition of social entrepreneurship, but it is becoming very popular and include to the different governmental programs, social entrepreneurship. And the important thing that in different level we see that so this is becoming part of the programs, and we will talk later about, like, in education system we observe that trying to include to the education systems, and through social entrepreneurship, trying, as I already mentioned, that employment issues, and trying to integrate vulnerable people to the system, like disabled women, through social businesses, so creating employment opportunity for them, and also how to reduce poverty. So it is very important that social entrepreneurship becoming a key role, and especially on the rural area, where we are talking about IDPs, where we are talking about disabled people and young people with limited access. So social entrepreneurship is a key tool to integrate them to the society, and this is becoming effective tools for SDGs.
Thank you. We try to define social entrepreneurship, and we say that the first place of this concept is that it's social, and it's also the market-driven with innovative business model to try to solve the problem that the world faced to. And we also discussed that why it can be an effective tool for achieving the SDGs, and even if we look back on our small icebreaker, we saw that our social buy was got from different bubbles, and one was for environmental social missions, the other was empowerment of, for example, vulnerable groups, the other was about food wasting, and so on. So like the SDGs, especially, for example, no poverty, zero hunger, quality education, gender equality, decent work and economic growth, climate action, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, like it's really wide. And we mentioned that social entrepreneurship is also with the wide social missions, and that's why it can be perceived as an effective tool for achieving SDGs. As we see, the role of social entrepreneurship can be quite broad, but now I also would like to make it more clear, like why and how social entrepreneurship supports civic education, and do we need it in school education system, or if there is any experience on the national level. Georgi.
Sure. Thank you very much for the question. I want to ask you, like, when I start talking about the education system, sometimes I forget about the timing. So I mean, you could, like.
Oh yeah, I will. Okay.
Yeah. But firstly, like when we if we want to answer the question, firstly, we have to define what is the role of schools, right? And what is the role of the education system in general, and not just schools. And certainly it is not just to give children information or about certain things, subject-based, competencies. The role of schools is to teach also values and equip children with the necessary skills, or 21st century skills, as they say. It is also to help to socialize, right? And this is what actually COVID-19, had a great impact on, and to support the integration of the society as well, because sometimes the education system is doing the other way around, by supporting division. And we see, all this, commercialization and privatization of the education system, what is doing. But that's another issue. In short, like the role of schools is to prepare children for independent life after school. And this is where civic education comes in, right? In the beginning, the subject, the civic education subject, it was more about rights and obligations, right? But currently it became more integrated subject, combining all of the humanities, such as, like history and law and geography, and also other subjects like economy, and financial literacy. And this is where social entrepreneurship comes in as well. What's also important is that just like other subjects, civic education tries to be competency based, meaning that it tries to empower children with all sorts of competencies, such as, like media literacy or critical thinking, financial literacy, tolerance, diversity. Like for instance, in Denmark, they are teaching empathy. And perhaps our friend from Denmark, Per, could also, know more about it than I do, because like I was fascinated when I heard about it. And this is part of the civic education program as well. And social entrepreneurship part is part of it as well, right? Recently, for instance, not recently, but a couple of years ago, we started to introduce it in our curricula. And it is social entrepreneurship is all about everything that we want our kids to learn, right? It's about everything that we want them to equip with, right? First of all, we want kids to be independent, right? To learn themselves. So me as a teacher, and you've mentioned that I teach in both public and private schools. And if I'm able to teach them to learn themselves, I would be proud of myself, right? But that's the most difficult part to do. And we want them to have new ideas, right? We want them to be innovative. We want them to think out of the box, right? And we want them to have cooperation skills, right? And to take care of the nature and the environment. This is the idea of the school, right? And this is the interconnectedness with social entrepreneurship, right? So everything that social entrepreneurship is about is exactly the idea behind the education system, behind schools, right? So in short, like it did help transform civic education into becoming more holistic, more integrated subject. And yes, of course, we need it in our education system now more than ever. Now, if I discuss more the national context, obviously,
it would be nice to discuss. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously, I'm very generally I'm an optimistic person, but when I discuss the national education system, people say that I become very pessimistic, But yeah, the situation is not good, like in the general education system, but actually one of the spotlights of the education system that we have is the subject civic education. We started, if we go back to history a little bit, we started introducing the subject in mid-2000s. And back then, the biggest challenge was that we didn't have, the teachers for it, And basically, the history teachers, the geography teachers, started teaching that, and even now the subject is taught by teachers who don't have competencies in, for instance, social entrepreneurship, in economy, and all these things, right? But the subject became, in a way, it became like very popular, and it became the hub for schools, like it became the hub for changes and innovation. So basically, civic education teachers and English teachers are the ones who are bringing change and who are bringing innovations in schools. And this is due to many reasons. And one of the reasons is that international donors were behind it and were supporting civic education, introduction of civic education very much. And CSOs also tried to help the system and, support bringing the subject on board. But obviously we had our ups and downs, but after a lot of activism and confrontation and advocacy, because a lot of people was against it. So for instance, at least to full extent, a lot of people wanted to, for instance, eliminate gender issues from civic education curricula, right? But after a lot of advocacy and campaigning and hard work by a lot of people, we have it in our school education system. We have Me and the Society, it's called at the primary level. Then we have civics at the basic level and civic education at the secondary level. Again, the biggest challenge with us is that it's associated with teacher professional development. Like teachers, I would say, are not qualified enough. I mean, they have their background in humanities and they're strong in humanities, like they can teach history or geography, etc. But they're not strong enough in social entrepreneurship. They're not strong in economy. They're not strong in financial literacy and all these components, right? And also the subject is not very popular for schools, and it's not prioritized in schools. Also for parents as well. I mean, you could, and I'm sure you would have the same experience that parents would ask teachers and schools how their kids are doing in traditional subjects such as math, yeah, and I don't know, natural sciences and all the other things except civic education, So I mean, to make it more to prioritize the subject is one of the challenges that we are doing. Even now, when people ask me what subject are you teaching, and when I say civic education, they're like, is it a new subject? And I'm saying yeah, for the last 15 to 20 years it is. But so yeah, I mean, even for schools, I mean, even though all these all the projects and cooperation with other schools, international donors, it is done through civic education, through the teachers. But even then, the subject is not very important, and you could see it simply looking at the time slots. Civic education is given I don't know, maximum 2 hours per week, and then the other subjects are given.
I see.
So yeah, that's
thank you, Georgi. I really loved this saying that why we need social entrepreneurship at school education system, and the answer is that because social entrepreneurship is everything we want our children know and be aware of. There are challenges on national level about generally civic education and also including social entrepreneurship. And let's see what's happening in Azerbaijan or on EU level in Denmark. So dear Gulnara, we're listening to your ideas.
At the moment, we don't have social entrepreneurship curriculum at our schools, but we have entrepreneurship education for vocational schools at the moment. So we are working with closely with schools in coming years to include this subject to the school programs, because we think that social entrepreneurship education, it's very important in the terms of like it's inspire and empower youth to become change maker of their community, because we are working through international organizations, through civil society organization as a part of non-formal education, and we observe that how it is important, and how social entrepreneurship education bringing social direct social impact to the society. Because in the case we observe that, so what they learned and applies innovative knowledge to initiate change. So they are becoming very active in their community and participation at the local and national level. So because we are working in the communities through these social entrepreneurship programs, when we start, we can see this mindset changing because Georgi also mentioned that it's very important, this mindset, social entrepreneurship mindset, why they need to buy these goods. And I remember that one of my colleagues, she was explaining that she did small survey among customers when she was telling that these sweets prepared by disabled women, first time it was like reactions that how they, we don't want to try this, maybe it is not good quality. So, but later on, and it become the reasons that, so it is important to support this business, because when you have mindset change, so you feel that why it is important for your society, why you need to buy these goods, because you know that you are going to support environmental project, you will bring added value to your community. And also if we are talking civic education and to connect social entrepreneurship idea is strongly related to self-empowerment, and this is individual initiative. So you are intending a value gain, so you are putting your business idea as an active person into practice. So in longer perspective, so when you are part of this process, you are becoming change maker in your community. And I want to use this opportunity also to share the information that as I am chair of Social Entrepreneurship and Innovation Working Group within EENCE, we also recently did a very interesting bootcamp through our working group, where we brought young people from Eastern Partnership countries. So we had different topics we cover. So it's about like social entrepreneurship, social impact, and also about beneficiary design thinking and how they need to start their own businesses. When we heard questions from different countries, we understood that almost all the young people, they have the same approach there. So you need some time for your thinking and about your business ideas. And we need to think that how it is, important for your market, and what you need to bring, how you can bring your products and present them in attractive way. In my opinion, so we need lots of things to work on social entrepreneurship in coming years, to include social entrepreneurship education to our university curriculum and at the school level also, because when you start in early age, so you understand in early age, and it's easy later on to have this mindset. I mean, otherwise it's always difficult when you are adults, and it is difficult.
Yeah, personally, me, I also think that why it is important to put social entrepreneurship at school system education is the kind of changing this mindset. Dear Gulnar also mentioned about it, that on the very early age of development and so on, it's important to realize that we are all independent. We can have a positive social impact on environment, on society, and just to make a better world and to improve the quality of other people, for example, who don't have today. And that's why it's important to realize like what social entrepreneurship is, and for example in future, maybe then when they become businessmen or businesswomen, or just the authorities from a public, to realize why we need sustainable partnerships through different sectors. And now we move forward to the kind of expertise of why we need these partnerships. And I want to mention that one of the indicator of SDG 17 is that partnerships for the goals is to encourage and promote effective public-private and civil society partnerships. There are quite good examples of the partnerships of civil society organizations and social enterprises, and moreover, most of the social enterprises in Georgia are established with the support from civil society organizations. But to move forward and to move another step of development, we also want different kind of partnerships. To achieve the goals, there is the vital necessity to get the support from private sector and have sustainable partnerships of SEs and traditional enterprises. There are some cases of best cases in Georgia, like this kind of partnerships, but I wouldn't say that there are lots of. So it's really important to know like what kind of best practices and best cases we're having in Europe and on international level. Now I would like to ask Mr. Per to share the best cases from Denmark. Like, what are the partnerships between SEs and traditional enterprises in Denmark, and why generally private sector support to social enterprises?
Thank you, Salome. I will try to share my screen here.
Let me know if you are able. Yeah, we are seeing the screen.
Can you see this?
Yeah, we can.
That's fine. So thank you for the invitation to join the webinar. It's a really interesting and important subject. And I'll be taking more the angle of how you can sort of use social entrepreneurship and social enterprise to cooperate with the private sector. Mm-hmm. So I have a few examples from Denmark, and I also have one example from England also. I took this, I included that because it is a really interesting example, and also shows that some private enterprises can really give a large commitment to helping out local communities and social enterprise causes. So let's start here. The first enterprise that I want to mention is an enterprise called I tråd med verden. It's Danish. It means something like when you sow, you are aligned with the world. It's a sort of a Danish thing, so it's a little bit difficult to translate. But they cooperate with a large Danish traditional enterprise called Berns and Ellis. So the social enterprise works with design and produce sort of various materials and products from leftover textiles that come from Berntsen, for example. So they use the products to sew different kinds of innovative and well-designed products, and it can be everything from clothes like coats and trousers, jackets, shirts, but it can also be like curtains and other things that you can use in a traditional enterprise as artworks and so. And then they employ women, mainly from different kinds of ethnic minorities that would otherwise have difficulties entering the labor market and find a job. So Berntsen is a quite large and very responsible company, and they offer different kinds of solutions with service solutions within washing, working clothes, mats and beddings, and toilet room facilities. So they sell this service to large institutions like public institutions, state institutions, or larger private institutions and companies. They have a lot of leftover textiles from sewing working clothes, from their washing departments. So this material would go to waste otherwise or be burned. So it's a very practical thing that they're able to give it away to this small social enterprise, I Tråd med Verden. And it's actually part of their CSR policy, and they promote it, as you can see in the picture below, as a way to meet goal number 17, partnership for action. So this is a very clear example that private companies use this in their CSR policy, and at the same time do a very nice social deed to help create jobs for excluded groups, in this case ethnic minorities. The next case is Gladfond. It's one of the biggest social enterprises in Denmark. So they have a lot of operations, everything from zoo to theater to TV to catering service. So they also, this is called Glad means happy. So in English, and mad means food. So this is the catering department. And what they did was that back in 2015, IIS is one of the largest cleaning company services in the world. It's a Danish company, and I think they have more than 100,000 employees all over the world. So they wanted to bid on a tender that the Danish National Radio sent out, and they were asking, in the tender, they really wanted to have someone with a social profile, and ISS didn't really was a large multinational company and didn't really have a social profile. So they asked the social enterprise Gladfonden, could you maybe run the cafe in the national radio? And they did so. So they work as sort of subcontractors in the tender here. And then when the tender shifted to a new company like Cheval Blanc Canteens, the social enterprise actually followed and went in with a new provider of the service for the national radio. So that is an interesting example that you can cooperate in the public and private tenders that are contracts that social enterprises would otherwise not be able to have, because they're so big, but they can be subcontractors on small areas. The next I want to show is It's a cooperation between a small social enterprise that refurbish and sell used IT, like computers, screens, and other IT products. And they actually are able to process, repair, and resell up to 1,500 units a year. And the social mission is employing people with different kinds of autism. KDM is a large large Danish IT company that provides services primarily for the state and municipalities. And they have around 3,000 employees in Scandinavia. So what they have is a lot of surplus and old used computers that they normally throw away as IT waste. But then they found out that they could actually donate these products to Norvik, the social enterprise, and they refurbish it, and they also clean them for data, repair them and update them, refresh them with new operating systems, and then they sell them through their web shop. Many companies want the latest IT, but some companies can use used computers because it's just for primary use, not large technical issues like designing and streaming and so on. So for just personal computers, they can be fine anyway. The cooperation, of course, helps meet different kinds of SDGs. Circular economy is a very important way to deal with our resources nowadays. So it actually minimizes both waste and electronic waste, which is a huge problem, and then also help create jobs for a group of people that would otherwise have difficulties finding a job. So the last Danish example is small social enterprise called Wood by Human Results, and then Kingo Carlson is the private traditional company. Woods is a small social enterprise that use spare and surplus wood that would otherwise be burned to create different kinds of very nice wooden products, as you can maybe see in the left here. So they make outdoor furnitures, but also some kind of interior products, for example, for bathrooms or kitchens. And they are a little rustic, but quite nice. And they help young people who have problems with drug abuse or have a criminal career, and they want to prevent them from entering that again. So Carlson is a huge demolition company, and when they tear down buildings and houses, institutions in the whole country, they have a lot of materials from waste materials. So it's really nice to be able to not burn the products, but donate them to an enterprise that can create new and creative products out of it. And again, it's the circular economy. It's donating material that would otherwise be wasted and let it go into creation of creative products and helping with the social purpose. And also you can use what you can do in these kind of cooperations and partnerships is also develop products together. So it's not just the company that designed the social enterprise that designs a product. You can work together with your traditional business partner and make products. So to keep up in time, I will just go quickly through the English example. It's actually a really exciting example, and I think it's the only one I know of in the world where a traditional company that runs motorway services in Gloucestershire, west of London, have agreed to give a percentage to a foundation, to a social enterprise. Gloucestershire Gateway Trust is a social enterprise, and the traditional company, like the Westmoreland family, they donate 3% every year of the turnover from the motorway service, and it's a huge motorway service. There's 40 million people passing by every year, so there's quite a revenue from revenue stream from that. So the 3% means that into the foundation is put something like £400,000 a year, which is around 4 million euros a year, that is donated to the local society. But more important, they have been able to build a really nice motorway service, and they have also been able to ask the private company to employ more than 400 excluded people in the motorway services. So this place has created 400 local jobs, and they have a local supermarket where 130 local producers, mainly of organic products and very environmental products, can sell directly from the motorway service. What they call Gloucester service farmer shops, and really nice products. Everything is made with sustainable materials, wood, and the foods sold there in the cafeteria and so are made from the bottom. So it's not just bake-off products, and so it's made from really nice local resources and materials. So it's an example that instead of having a motorway that would be an expense for you, what they had before they built this motorway service was just people having accidents on the service and coming in. Nothing would be given to the local community than pollution and noise. But here they really managed to have a cooperation where the local community benefits. It's not always the case with large companies. Normally they come into a community and they take out value, and the community is left with nothing. But that's not the case here. So it's a really nice example of how a large company can cooperate with a local community and a social enterprise and create local value, and both can benefit. Did I keep up in time, or how was it?
You're super on time. Thank you very much. As I understand via these examples, what is important is that traditional businesses and also social enterprises, at some point it's super necessary to find matching points where they can collaborate and partner each other. At one point it could be, for example, supporting with product materials that social enterprises need. On the other hand, it can be a financial contribution or support on financial level, and etc. What I want to ask you and to discuss is that, for example, in developing countries, CSR is also is being developed, and many traditional enterprises here in Georgia, they're just working about it right now. How we can, for example, make sure traditional businesses and how we can create motivation that to get their support and to motivate them come on partnerships and have good cases.
Yes, first of all, they are not supporting you. You are also supporting them. So it's it's a sort of an equal. You have to look at it as an equal partnership. So both the social enterprise and the traditional enterprise are creating value in different ways. So if you anyway have a product or a waste product or something that you are not really using, it can also be space. It can be you have people who has skills within bookkeeping or accounting or design that you are not using full time maybe, and you can put them to use in a different context, and you can get something back. So many of these companies make products that they, for example, sorry, in the case of Berntsen, you know, the first example I showed you. So they deliver textiles, but sometimes they also buy back products. And even they are able to recruit employees from the small social enterprise that have been trained by the social enterprise to first of all be able to have a job and to also maybe sew materials or wash materials, so they can enter the larger cooperation, or they can enter the larger traditional company in a working position like an employee. And that is very important these days, where at least in our country there's a huge need for labor. There's actually full occupation right now, so we need people on the labor market, and specifically on unskilled jobs and so that is another way to help the larger company to recruit employees. Did I answer your question? Or
yeah, thank you, dear Per. George, Gulnara, do you want to add something?
Yes, I think in terms of partnership, it's very important that in this ecosystem, both of them, like traditional enterprises and social enterprises, they can support each other, like creating values. I remember that last year when we had town hall meetings, we invited traditional enterprises, social enterprises, and different stakeholders in one place. And I found that during the discussions, they mentioned that we need more awareness. So because sometimes awareness is missing, and both sides, they don't have too much information what is going on, how they can support each other. So in my opinion, it's very crucial to bring different interested parties in one place, so they have direct communication with each other. So it's really helpful to understand that how together they can build and bring added value to this ecosystem. So in my opinion, in coming years, we need to continue this awareness, social entrepreneurship, this sustainable development, how we can contribute to SDG goals. So when we have more information, so it's more easy to support and to make partnership.
Yeah, definitely. This is the thing what we are trying in Georgia, like my organization tries to raise awareness about the concept about social entrepreneurship. And like as Per mentioned, actually one of our goals is to speak about social entrepreneurs and to present themselves as these equal partners and who are doing great job for achieving SDGs. And George, do you want to add something? Otherwise, we can move forward to the questions that are in chat box.
Yeah, I think we could move to the questions in the chat box. I would like briefly, I would agree with Gulnara that awareness raising is very important because the socioeconomic context in the country, like whenever you have that kind of challenges, you know, associated with poverty, with lack of civic education, etc., etc. I mean, then it is difficult to you know, like to ask people or even organizations, you know, to be socially minded in a way. And also, like when we talk about, you know, like the big companies or organizations, etc., as a state, you have to give incentives, different type of incentives to the organizations in order to, you know, like supporting growing of, you know, like a lot of entrepreneurial people, you know, like in order to change the mentality and to change the mindset of not just, you know, like CSOs, you know, but also of the private companies and private organizations. That's it.
Thank you, Georgi. So let's move to the Q&A section just to be in time. So the first question is from Roman Egorov, Southern Russia, North Caucasus. Which tools, platforms you activists from wider Caucasus area use to learn practices and exchange ideas in the area of social entrepreneurship? I will try to answer on the first place with the example of Georgia. One of the biggest event and kind of platform that we use for collecting information, news, and experience sharing for social entrepreneurs is the Social Entrepreneurship Forum that annually is held, and this year it will be also on 18th of November. This is one of the biggest event that happened in Georgia in the field. During the event, social entrepreneurs, also the interested people from private sector, from civil, like government, authorities from government are getting together in one space, and they just try to speak about the issues connected to social entrepreneurship, and also the exchange ideas like what can be done in future or what was done in past, and like how the sector is growing up. So, and Georgi, Gulnar, I guess you can also add some experience on your own.
Yes, I can share Azerbaijan experience. We are also at Education Hub. We are coordinating and initiated 3 years ago Social Entrepreneurship Forum, where we brought together different decision makers on national level and international experts in one place. And each year we have this platform to exchange ideas, and also working with proposal to legislation. So Education Hub, one of key players in this area. And recently we launched Social Entrepreneur Us website. This is a platform for social enterprises, and we started a co-creation approach, social enterprises in Azerbaijan, so they can apply and with their own resources, and we can share these opportunities for them, because we brought the idea that if we want to establish this ecosystem, everybody has even small contribution to the system. So we have this platform. It's in Azerbaijani, but in future we are planning to have in English as well.
Thank you, Georgi.
Yeah, I mean, one of the areas which is not addressed, and this is actually like I would say not the biggest maybe, but like a big platform for cooperation, is the universities, right? Higher educational institutions, and this is what we are trying to use. We try to cooperate with the universities because social entrepreneurship is not for everyone, but for most of the universities in Georgia, it's still an unexploited topic, you know, like it's not the strongest area for them. So we try to cooperate both with public universities and private universities, and we're trying to create this space where all of us could, you know, like cooperate and try to help each other, support each other, and benefit each other. Yeah. So I would say in this area, the universities have one of the key roles here.
Okay. Thanks for the answers. We are having one more question. The question is from Tunisian organization of Civic Education. I'm wondering how to prepare children in clubs to social entrepreneurship, because in curriculum, it's another thing, how to lead children used in schools to be in the box, think out of the box. Is there any trainings for that, manuals? Thanks a lot. I think this is really a nice question to be answered like by any of you, what kind of experience we are having in school curriculums and how to kind of kick children to think out of the box, which is really difficult at some point.
I mean, obviously, may I start like very shortly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are, you know, like trainings and manuals for it, but I would suggest like what we did in Georgia is that civic education as a subject became popular because we've created the Civic Education Teachers Association. You know, and the difference between unions and the association is that the association works on teacher professional development, and the unions, they work on labor rights and so on and so forth, right? So the association, you know, they gathered civic teachers, and now they have like more than 1,000 teachers. And they're very strong, you know, they are strong in fundraising, they are strong in cooperating with international donors, they're strong in, you know, cooperating with the ministries and so on and so forth. So, I mean, you have to have someone who would be in charge of, you know, like supporting schools in this area. Otherwise, even though like a lot of schools, you know, find themselves like challenged in terms of social entrepreneurship, or in terms of developing clubs, in terms of being strong in non-formal education, I would say that you would need someone who would be in charge of that, and the association is one of the strongest points to start with. But definitely, like there are trainings and manuals how you could, you know, like develop non-formal education in schools. But first of all, I mean, sometimes I find very difficult how you differentiate formal from non-formal education. Definitely, like clubs and all these things are important, but it has to be part of traditional education as well. So so yeah. Teacher professional development in one sentence.
Yeah, teachers development. Dear Gulnar?
In Azerbaijan, we don't have special curriculum on civic education at schools, but we have through non-formal educational programs, we have materials for schools and young people. So we it's since 2012 we have one program. It calls like Time for Development programs, civic education program. We are working in Baku and in the regions as well. So through the programs, we are bringing young people and using art tools to teach civic education and just supporting them through mentors. So, and we found that this is very attractive and easy to work with pupils and students as well.
Yeah, dear Per.
I can just mention that here in Denmark we have a large public-supported, government-supported foundation that is called the Foundation for Entrepreneurship. They do not in particular have social entrepreneurship on the as their primarily subject, but they also use or they also are interested in social and in responsible entrepreneurship, you can say. But what they do is they provide educational material guides for teachers to both primarily school level and also to college and university level. So you can access lots of material on how to integrate or entrepreneurship in the curriculum and in the actually teaching and run different kinds of awards and larger competitions every year to promote entrepreneurship. So that's one thing. I also want to mention that we as an association, together with Norway and Sweden, are developing an online program called Nordic Social Entrepreneurship 2.0, I think. 3.0 maybe. That will be available online next year, I think.
So
that is like using it.
I think it's
yeah, tell me, Gulnara.
Yes, I want
small technical stuff.
I wanted just to add one more thing that about entrepreneurship education. Actually, in Azerbaijan, it is officially included to the vet school, like vocational education school programs, since 2018. Like it is part of our curriculum, and it's about like modern technology. It is about entrepreneurship mindset. So it is part of our school program, and which adopted by Minister of Education. And we have the textbook prepared, and these models all existed. But at the moment, we are trying to include to entrepreneurship program about social entrepreneurship education part as well. So we think that in coming future, we will be able to add this part as well, because at the moment we observe that through these teachers, they are very interested, and they found that through the programs, pupils in future, they are very interested to involve business activity, to create their own businesses, and it's like creative mindset. So I think that these programs helps in young age to students to become more creative and to think about innovative approach.
Yeah. Thank you. So these kind of programs are taking really valuable role in order to develop the concept in different countries. And thanks for the questions. If any of you still have any question, you can put in the Q&A section, and if we have some time, we'll be able to answer. But to sum up, instead of summing up kind of our discussion, I want to show you the really nice animation about social entrepreneurship. The animation simply explains what the concept means and what kind of role it plays in social and economic development of our society. It was made in frames of the project Learn and Act as social entrepreneurs implemented by the EENCE Working Group Social Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and is funded by BPB. The animation was produced, one of the project partners, the Center for Strategic Research and Development of Georgia. This is the organization that really supports and empowers social enterprises in Georgia. Dear Gulnara, do you want to add us any comments about the animation and the project? Otherwise, I can share the screen.
Yes, I will just very quickly, I will tell that thanks to my colleague Christina, and actually it was in frame of our working group activities, this program we made, and I think it will be a nice closure of this event set. So we had this animation, and this soon we will share Russian version as well. So this resource, and all our colleagues and the countries, they can use this tool. Thanks for EENCE for creating such a great opportunity for us.
Thank you, Gulnara. So now I will share the screen, and I will just need your, if you can see it. Can you see the screen? Okay, and let me put the button.
Innovative movements in entrepreneurship is figuring out how to make a difference in the lives of many people in a sustainable way to achieve wider social change. That idea is called social entrepreneurship. The concept of social entrepreneurship emerged in the late 70s. Theories of developments explain why a predictable source of income is one of the best ways to enable communities and individuals to address the most salient challenges they face. This is what social entrepreneurship strives to do: impact first economic activity saturated with social and environmental consciousness. Social entrepreneurship contributes significantly to economic wealth creation, supporting people in need by giving them the tools they need for creating community wealth. Social entrepreneurship is based on the values of securing the rights of individuals, supporting equality and equity, and caring for the environment and humans. And all these are in line with responsible entrepreneurial activities, creating products and services to generate income and to achieve these ideals. Social enterprises combine societal goals with an entrepreneurial spirit. These organizations focus on achieving wider social, environmental, or community objectives. Social enterprise fills the gap in service and goods provision where business operators or the government institutions are ineffective. Provides social services in a cost-effective way. Employs people who are not competitive on the job market. Provides them with vocational education and supports their skills development. Preserves nature and cultural heritage. Provides civil society organization with financial sustainability. Criteria for social entrepreneurship unites social, economic, and governance dimensions. Social dimension is focusing on an explicit and primary social aim, limits on distribution of profits or assets. Likewise, social enterprise must be initiated by the organization or interested group of people. Economic dimension focuses on entrepreneurial approaches, such as producing products or services, having employees, and taking an economic risk. Governance dimension highlights independence and inclusive management of the social enterprise, while the decision-making power is not based on capital possession. Social entrepreneurship plays an important role in the formation of citizenship responsibility, deepening understanding of democratic values, and raising awareness on various civic education topics, such as protection of human rights, fighting against stigma and stereotypes, gender equality, environment protection, access to education, and dignified jobs. Want to make a change? Join the movement of concept supporters.
So the animation was really nice ending of our panel discussion, Think and Act as Social Entrepreneurs. Dear speakers, do you want to add some comments to sum up conclusions?
No, I like very briefly, I want to thank you once again for the opportunity, for the interesting discussions. And yeah, I want to thank also everyone who participated and who asked questions or didn't ask questions. It was very, very interesting. Thank you again.
Gulnara?
I would like to thank all our audience and speakers for a wonderful Saturday afternoon. And I get energy from all of you, even virtually. And thanks to Salome for moderation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Pierre?
Thank you. Yes, I will follow the others and say thank you for the invitation and a very nice and interesting event you have hosted here. And also the best of luck to Georgia, Azerbaijan, and all the other countries in the Asian region who I hope will succeed in also promoting this very important work. And it looks like you are on the way very good. So it was very interesting for me also to have a dive into what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And thank you, the audience, the speakers, for your time, especially on Saturday, for your effort to speak very briefly and focus on the main topic. And for sure, thanks, EENCE, for this opportunity to speak about social entrepreneurship. Narine?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all, dear colleagues, dear audience, for your time. I'm extremely happy that we managed to include in EENCE Club project the topic about social entrepreneurship and partnership in general, because as the results of registration shows, I mean, 52 people have registered for this event. It's a big number of interest. So I'm happy that we managed to include this topic in EENCE Club. Regarding the question to Ellen, if we will speak with the speakers, in this case with Per and Gulnara, if they give us a permission, we for sure will share the presentation and the animation with you. Thanks to Salome for the moderation, for the investment of her time, expertise in the proper preparation stage of EENCE Club number 9. Thanks to George from Georgia, because in this case, we had various approaches to social entrepreneurship. So George, being in a formal education, speaks up about social entrepreneurship from this perspective, yeah. And I appreciate his thoughts, especially about the social entrepreneurship, that it is a part of formal education, and it is all about everything we want to teach children. It's about independence, it's about the innovation, it's about the change, and about the stuff that the teachers and university lecturers should teach the students and children to think out of box. It's about cooperation. And the most important that George has mentioned, it's about holistic approach. When the mind, when the soul, and when your practical stuff, I mean the hand, is working in a harmony. I really appreciate the Gulnara's contribution, who bring into the center about, again, told about the social change, which is a core value or in social entrepreneurship. In other words, It's a nailed value in social entrepreneurship. Yumnara also highlighted the mindset change, especially for the people who are living in remote areas, and the importance to have citizenship education in university curriculum. Thanks to Per for bringing into the center the expertise and the practical knowledge and competencies from Denmark, especially the importance of collaboration between traditional companies and social enterprises. The examples of Per are really empowering, encouraging to include the people from excluded groups, in this particular case, women from ethnic minorities, and to engage or equip them with necessary skills and competencies to enter to labor market. Per also told us about the importance of circle economy. This is very, very much important, especially in social entrepreneurship when we are speaking about social impact. And last but not least, social entrepreneurship is a two-way benefit process for all stakeholders that are in this field. Big thanks to the audience for your time, for your patience, for your active participation in EENCE Club number 9. I'm happy that our sister network, NASA, has a representative behalf of INSAF, who also addressed the question, an interesting question. Thanks, dear colleagues, for your time. And I encourage you and I invite you to participate in EENCE Club number 10, which is organized in collaboration with Goethe Institute, Kiev. Topic will be again about successful partnership and collaboration. It will take place on 16th of October. I encourage you to participate on EENCE Citizenship Education Week Art of Living Online, 7 countries, 7 days. It starts from 11th of October and it brings both practitioners and as well as people and narratives from Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Belarus, Ukraine, Russia, and Moldova. Have a nice continuation of your day and see you.